Okay, so how to increase sense of urgency in learning and practicing the Dhamma? Just now I was in a way teasing Chris about staying in the place for 200 years. My teacher, my lead teacher, 上面下敬老和尚, he always say this. He always say, 我们还想要活多久？我们还想要活200年。That how long more do we want to live? You want to live for another 200 years? How long can we live? Yeah. So in a way, it's related to this. So in one of the sutta, the Buddha related to a long distance time where a teacher was exhorting his disciples, telling them that life is impermanent, it's transient, it's like a foam, yeah, easily dispersed. It's like a bubble, very fragile. It's like the flash of a lightning, and so on. And then he said, the lifespan of human at that point in time is 60,000 years. Yeah. 60,000 years, and yet that teacher at that point in time, can I turn off the, can of course. Yeah, those who need to go to work but want to still listen in, yeah, it's okay, you can turn off your webcam. Yeah, so the trouble with us is the sense of urgency often comes from thinking that there's still tomorrow. Yeah. A reflection that I often share in class is we wake up in the morning, going about busy with our day, with an assumption that is unspoken. Yeah, thinking that we will come back at the end of the day. Yeah, but there are many people who live for work, who live to attend to different matters, but don't come back home. Yeah. Every night when we go to bed unconsciously, unwittingly, thinking that tomorrow we will wake up. Just as the night before we sleep, this morning we wake up. Similarly, tonight when we sleep, tomorrow we will wake up. We think in this way. But again, it's not that we sit down and we write a paper about it, that we consciously think, no. But it's an unconscious thing. Unconscious because it's so deep-rooted that we don't even think about it. So we don't even have to think, will we wake up? No, we don't think. But you go and ask cancer patients, every day they are thinking. And no laughing matter. But the fact is, whether you are a cancer patient or not, whether you are old or young, this is an uncertainty. This is an uncertainty. Anicca, impermanence, it's not simply about change. It's about the uncertainty of the change. Because things that are conditioned, fabricated, depends on condition. They change according to conditions, not according to our whims and fancy. So as a result, when will it change? We don't know. We know that it tends towards changing, but When, exactly how, is not so certain. Statistically speaking, most of us should survive until tonight. Statistically speaking, yeah. But maybe by tonight, by tomorrow, maybe one of us not here. Yeah. Tomorrow nobody there will turn out. It's like, but I think about it, right? That's our life, you know. It's a very sad thing. Our existence, human existence, is a very sad thing. Those of you whose hair is starting to turn white, who is 50 and above, 60 and above, you know what I mean, right? When we are young, we attend the wedding of our relatives who are older. Yeah. Then when you come to a certain age, you attend the wedding of your peers. And in some cases, your own wedding. Do we attend our own wedding? then you know, and of course, in between, you have the celebration of someone's child being born. Then the 满月, the coming of the full month, and so on. And eventually, maybe some of us may have our own kids. So you hear your friends having kids, then you yourself having kids, and so on. Then at some point, you hear of, then you see your kids grow up. You also hear about your kids growing up. Yeah. You see the whole intermesh of cycles at different stages. But even when we are young, we also attend the the funeral, the wake of our elderly relatives. Yeah. And then when we go to work, suddenly we hear, oh, this colleague from another department passed away. Yeah, someone, a HR maybe send out a circular. Those who want to offer back him can offer. The company, the department is going down on this day, on this night. Yeah, you can join in on that night if you want to. Yeah, and then one by one, yeah, your peers start to also, Hokkien we say "Gao Ting Ki," submit your IC. Yeah, yeah. So imagine this group. Yeah, if it would be a very nice thing, to sit until one by one, that eventually the whole group is changed, not because drop out, but because pass away already. Because that's the reality, Yeah, that's the reality. Yeah. When I went back to NTU to give talks, there was one time when I went back to give talks, and then so I shared with some of the students. I think was one of the first time I went back to give talks, and then I told them that I stay in Hall 11, and they actually brought me back to Hall 11, and the junior hall officer was the hall officer already, and already bad more. I mean, not really totally white, but much elderly. The original hall officer has already retired. Yeah, so he was very nice. He was like, oh, like, you can still remember me because I was the welfare secretary for the first year, Hon Gen Sec for the second year. And in my first year, I was always bugging the hall office, yeah, because welfare ma. So anything that goes on in the hall, I will, and I'm super on one. So almost a few times a week, I'll be going to the hall office and bug him. So he kind of remembered me. So he brought me back to my last hostel room, block. That was block 554. Yeah, 54 or 55. Yeah, probably 55. I was in a single room in my final year. Yeah, And then I actually by then I was a bit embarrassed, like, well, if people staying in the room, then this lao lang go there. But anyway, we went there. Then he even knocked on the door. Then the student, the undergrad, opened the door. Sim Tai How come there's a monk to come here? What happened? Haunted. Yeah. But when I went there, I had a deep sense of melancholy. Yeah. You know, 数十年后，人事已去. Yeah, really, I really feel that way, because the building is very well maintained. The building looks exactly like when I was in my 20s, when it was brand new. We were the first batch to stay in Hall 11. So when I went back there, it feels like it's the same. And because when students go around, in a distance, it feels like it's just like back then. But then I don't see any familiar faces. And in a way that got me thinking, like, that's those who have attained to enlightenment and attained the three knowledges, when they look at samsara, they must feel even much more deeper. Yeah. Because they will see that all has changed. All has come and gone, come and gone, come and gone, come and gone. In the Samyutta Nikaya, the Buddha said that we have been traversing through samsara since beginningless time for such a long time. If we were to collect all the tears that we have shed for our loved ones, it would fill up and overflow the four great oceans. And then on another occasion, he said, if we were to pile up all the bones that we had while traversing through samsara, it would overwhelm Mount Sumeru. If we were to collect all the blood we have shed when we were beheaded, it would overflow the four great oceans as well. Yeah. This is the nature of samsara. Yeah. So, on one hand, when you think about it, actually, since young, I have I often feel melancholic about life. I don't know why. Yeah. Every year we have a Scouts campfire, and almost every week we have a campfire to attend. But especially the campfire we organize, because we do all the setup, and then at the end, all the different Scouts and Guides group, they leave. Yeah, so I would just feel a deep sense of melancholy, where before that there was everybody happy singing, and then having the campfire, and then in a short moment, all gone. And we would do the as much of the clear up as possible. Yeah, usually we'll our own campfire. Oftentimes we will stay overnight, and then the next day we continue the clear up. Yeah, but I will feel a deep sense of melancholy. Yeah, but this is the nature of our existence. Yeah. 聚而不散，终不可得. Yeah. That which comes together, for it to not be separated, that is impossible. But because every day when we wake up, we don't quite see this. Not because we are stupid, but because when we wake up, we see everything seems quite similar. Yeah. Partly because we are forgetful. We forget all the faces we have lost. all the friends we have lost, all the family we have lost, we forget. Yeah, we cry for a while, then we forget. You know, yeah. It's not that we are 无情无义, but this is how we are. Yeah, this is how we are. So before we know it, it's our turn. Yeah, before we know it, it's our turn. So how to increase our sense of urgency in learning and practicing until we fully appreciate the nature of our existence. Our urgency will come and go. Yeah, that's why whenever there's natural disaster, everybody is very jing. Yeah, everybody is very diligent. Yeah. When there was SARS, I think all the 法会, yeah, 爆满. When there's the Indian Ocean tsunami, I think all the retreats, Dhamma classes, all full house. Then after a few weeks, after a few months, text Sifu, so sorry. By then, at that point in time, I was still in US. I mean, those other Sifu in Singapore, maybe received text messages. Sifu, so sorry, I can't make it for this 8 precept this weekend. Yeah, I have to attend to other things. Yeah, I hope to join next time. Then after a few months, after a few years, 四川大地震. Yeah, the Sichuan earthquake. Then everybody, 师父, when is the next 药师点灯法会啊？金刚宝忏几时？梁王宝忏几时要打？我们很久没有打了嘞。没有啊，上个月刚打。是吗？我们再打多一次。Yeah, it's okay. It's understandable. Yeah. That's why in the Pali Canon, the Buddha said, there is pleasure in this world. If there's no pleasure, sentient beings will not be mired in samsara. Mired, I don't know whether I pronounce it correctly, mired or mired. So it means, like if you walk on normal ground, you walk, you move, right? If you are in sand, in muddy water, you step in, your leg cannot even get stuck. That's the meaning. We're stuck in samsara. But it's not samsara that's hold us back. It's that we like samsara. So nice. Yeah. But then the Buddha also said, there is suffering in this world. Yeah. For if there's no suffering in this world, then sentient beings wouldn't seek an escape, seek a liberation from this samsaric existence. Yeah. So that's why in the Buddhist tradition, when we talk about having urgency, there are a few exercises to do. The first is 思维生死过患. So to contemplate on the faults and danger of samsaric existence. Yeah. Then, so this is the first part. But there must be a second part. If you just do this first part, then it is very, very paranoid. It's very pessimistic. So also sad. See, so die. Yeah. So that's the second part. The second part is 思维涅槃功德殊胜. Yeah. To contemplate on the supremacy, contemplate on the merits, the benefit of nirvana. Yeah. So when you contemplate in this way, then there's a potential difference. Yeah, there's a potential difference. And the potential difference create a current. Yeah, we call that effort. Yeah. But in order to contemplate in this way, you need the initial faith. Yeah. Because we haven't experienced samsara yet. We haven't experienced nirvana yet. Yeah. So when you hear from Buddha, so we need to have faith in the nirvana, that there's nirvana. We also need to have faith that there is benefit to that. Why? Because nirvana seems to be describing the absence of the things here, samsara. But we see benefit here. So if you see absence of this, then how can that be benefit? So you need to have the faith that this is actually beneficial. Yeah, this is actually beneficial. And then by contemplating that this is problematic. And that's why in the path, like the 5 roots and 5 powers, 五根五力, 信静念定慧. Yeah, from 信, then you 生静. From faith, then you give rise to effort. Yeah. This is the reason. It's not simply, oftentimes if you just learn the text or we attend one talk, sometimes, or read a book, if they just talk about the items in isolation, then you may feel very pumped up, but then actually when you really try to use it, from here, how does it go to there? Yeah, how does faith give rise to effort? It's not just faith in Buddha, no. It's faith in what he has said by extension. And the crucial thing is how he describes samsara, that is wrought with suffering, wrought with problems, and how he described the virtues, the values, the benefits of nirvana. Yeah. And when you have more and more faith in these two, the way it's described, then your current start to increase. Potential difference increase, current increase. Yeah, resistance is more or less constant. So P equals IV. Yeah. But faith in Buddhism is not simply just blind faith. Yeah. Initially, it's just faith through hearing. Yeah, that's just knowledge. You hear about it, then you have faith. Yeah. But even that is actually not the case. Initially, our faith is just a feeling. What kind of feeling? Because see this food looks quite honest. Yeah, this food quite nice. Always smiling one. If Sifu come to class like that, for some people when they see Sifu don't smile, they have faith. No. So different people have faith for different reason. Yeah, for some Sifu like my, I don't say who but you all know who. My someone, two of them last time always tell me, Sifu, when you give talks stop smiling. What? Why stop smiling? 不庄严, not dignified. The idea most people have, the traditional, whether it's Bante or Changlao or what. Rinpoche is always smiling one. Yeah, all the Lama always smiling. So nobody have an idea of how traditionally they should be. But the Changlao, the Chinese monk and the Theravadan monks, the very traditional one, not the Amor Theravadan. Amor Theravadan also smiling one. But the traditional one, I remember a long time ago when I was still a kid, my uncle brought us to a Thai temple. Actually, it was quite a scary experience because the Thai monk, Amitabha, they look quite fierce. Their face look quite fierce. And then they don't smile. Then, like, almost on the, collapse on the floor. Yeah. So for some, when they see the monk, 各位居士，今天我们要谈生死过患跟涅槃功德。首先，什么是生死？哇 ，then 哇 ，some people 哇 ，in the mind 哇 ，the faith Can you imagine a 老和尚 doing this? So different people develop faith initially in different ways. Yeah, and one more type. I've heard before, there are some who develop faith in Buddhism because of the chanting, no? Yeah, and when did they develop this? When their father, their mother, their grandfather, grandmother pass away, and then the monk come. So many times during the funeral, the monk don't give Dhamma talk. Nowadays, more common. Yeah, but traditionally, no Dhamma talk. So the monk just come, then, dong, 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 dong. Then, then just start the chanting. I, I always chant only the front part of the 如香赞. Then they will start 如香赞. Then for some people, they feel very energized. They're like, wow, 3D surround. Wow. The different monks, right? Then it's like 3D surround sound. They get very inspired. Not to make a joke out of all this, okay? Not to be disrespectful in case others who are watching after this feel, wow, how can this Sifu be so disrespectful? No. I say this because we are really all different. So there are individuals, they get very touched when they hear those chanting. You ask me to go and touch, to move people in this way, I cannot. So far in my whole 18 years, I only move maybe 1 or 2% through my chanting. It was in BL. And then I think it was 8 precepts retreat. So there was this, I think she's like Baba, retired lawyer. Then I was highlighting, there was a question about chanting and what. So I demonstrated I think it was the tree refuge. So I also just chant, I think 1 set, or that's not the complete set. Then after that, she told me, oh, that is so wonderful. I was like, ayo, paiseh. You never hear the real thing before, so you think this is so good. Huh? Yeah. But so initially we are like that. Even when you attend Dhamma talk, you think, wow, this Sifu explained very well. Actually, a lot of times it is because of our wholesome connection. Initially, it's always like that. But we're not supposed to stop there. Through this, then it inspires you to listen to the Dhamma. As you listen to the Dhamma, you have knowledge of the Dhamma. So then you start to move away from the person towards the Dhamma. Then you have faith in the knowledge itself. But that itself is quite weak. Because if somebody bring in another text that you have never heard before, that question what you know, you may have 2 choices. Either hold on firmly to what you believe in, or lose faith. If you don't lose faith, then it's blind faith. If you lose faith, it's also because it's blind faith. That's why you lose it. Yeah. So you must move to the next stage, which is you have to reflect and contemplate on what you have learned, the knowledge. Then you have understanding. But to do that, the first part I've been highlighting for the past few years, after you hear, the 3 stage, 闻思修, hearing, contemplation, cultivation. After you hear, you need to retain. If you don't return, then that is called 边风, the wind next to the ear. You need to listen and remember, because then can you contemplate. Otherwise, why are you contemplating? Contemplating on how you feel towards the teaching. Cannot. So if you can retain it, then you can contemplate on it. Not contemplate on how we think ourselves. Yeah, but that's the other trouble and obstacle. We have more faith in ourselves than the teachings. So even when our teacher tells us, don't do this, we say, why cannot do this? Then we have a lot of reason. We explain. Then Maybe the teacher also still try to explain. After a while, the teacher, okay lah, then you do it your own way, huh? You are so smart, you be your own teacher. Very good. I'm happy for you. So the faith in the teacher, faith in the Dharma is required. Otherwise, our faith in ourselves will obstruct. Don't want to even try what the teacher said. But if you manage to overcome that, then you contemplate on what you remember to produce an understanding. No, Sifu, I listen to the talk, I understand. No, actually, no. If you understand during the talk, it's also possible. Yeah, because sometimes the teacher, the speaker may explain and guide you through the process. But if you are understanding while the speaker is still speaking, chances are, in my opinion, you are doing it the wrong way. Yeah, which is the other problem with many students. They try to understand it while they are listening. While you are understanding it, you are thinking already. You're contemplating already. Then it means you are not really listening already. So you end up contemplating half, if at all, of what was said. And mostly contemplating on what you think about it, not what was said. If you just listen and retain it, then you are having the understanding, the explanation that was given. Then you go and contemplate. When you contemplate in the latter way, then you are having an understanding of what was explained, what was heard. Your faith, if you can arrive at an understanding, your faith increase again. From no faith to faith, and then deeper faith. But that's still not enough. Ultimately, in Buddhism, you need to cultivate. But how does cultivate solidify and strengthen the faith? Because as you cultivate, the cultivation helps us to verify what you have heard, the knowledge, verify your understanding that indeed this is the case, not just a nice idea. And if you can verify to that level, then your faith becomes unshakable. It becomes unshakable. Then you know for yourself, suffering is suffering. Cause of suffering is cause of suffering. End of suffering is indeed end of suffering. No doubt about it. And the path leading to the end of suffering is indeed the path leading to end of suffering, not other path. You know for yourself that all things conditioned is really impermanent, not otherwise. You know for yourself that this itself is transient, it changes. You know for yourself that that which is of this nature it tend towards uncertainty, tend towards what? Suffering. And you see clearly that there's nothing inherent in all of this, that there's no self. When you have your first glimpse of this, then the doubt and the faith and wisdom comes concurrent. It's like a seesaw, one goes up, the other one comes down. Yeah. So before that, it's okay to have doubt. Before that, it's okay to not have complete faith. The question is what we do with the doubt. Do we try to verify it? Do we try to ascertain it? Or do we just believe in our doubt? A lot of people have doubt and then they believe in their doubt. Actually, it's still faith. Faith in their doubt. They don't go and clarify their doubt. That's why I always encourage students to ask questions. Yeah. So if you manage to do it to that level, you remove the doubt in Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and in the practices. Yeah. You have attained to Sotapanna, the first stage, the stream enterer. Do you see how it is? I don't know whether you all see what I mean, but it's so beautiful, no? That the definition of Sotapanna is not just some arbitrary features, some arbitrary qualities that a committee sit together and say, maybe I think we should have a first stage. Hey, what do you think of what quality should be there? No, the Buddha declared the first stage not based on the consensus, not based on the discussion, not based on democratic voting, but is that when you have removed to that degree, then these are the features. In some texts, in some Mahayana texts, it actually states that this is also artificially defined. Doesn't mean that there's no such a thing. It just means that actually there's no this when you reach this stage, there's no name called Sotapanna, but the Buddha used this name to describe. That's why Sotapanna is a metaphor, the leaf dropping into the stream and then carried down to Nirvana, right? The Buddha was basically describing how if a person cultivate to this point, then there are certain features about it. So faith starts, faith is from the start all the way to the end, but it changes in quality. And until we develop that, our sense of urgency will be half-hearted. So may all of you develop that purified faith and form the basis for your practices, create the potential difference and the current of effort. 愿消三障诸烦恼，
愿消三障诸烦恼，
愿得智慧真明了，
愿得智慧真明了，
不愿罪障悉消除，
不愿罪障悉消除，
时时常行菩萨道。
时时常行菩萨道。
阿弥陀佛。
阿弥陀佛。
Okay. Take care. Have a good weekend ahead. Safe and normal.
Thank you, 师父。
Thank you, 师父。
Yeah.
Thank you, 师父. Thank you, 师父.